This is an iHeart podcast.
You know, we have 59 countries that agreed to the deal. We have a peace in the Middle East for the first time ever. We made a deal with Hamas that, you know, they're going to be very good, they're going to behave, they're going to be nice, and if they're not, we're going to go and we're going to eradicate them if we have to. They'll be eradicated, and they know that.
You're listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson.
Good Tuesday morning. It's nice to have you with us on the 47 Morning Update. Ben Ferguson with you. And here are the two big stories that are coming out of the White House this morning. First up, the Department of Homeland Security has announced an incredible feat, arresting more than 480,000 illegal immigrants in the first 9 months of President Trump being in office. You're going to be shocked to know just how many of these 480,000 have criminal records. Also, there was a massive win for the president when it comes to deploying the National Guard, this time coming from the 9th U.S. Circuit decision, dealing with him doing exactly this in Portland. And what does this mean for other cities around the country? But first, did you see that gold just hit an all-time new high of over $4,000 an ounce? And if you hear that and you're like, are you kidding me? And you're thinking, gosh, I missed my opportunity. Well, I don't know if you missed your opportunity. But my friends at Kurt Elliott Precious Metals, they can answer that question for you. You also may not be paying attention to the incredible gains with silver that are happening right now as well. And that's why I trust the guidance of the team at Kurt Elliott. In fact, I literally just got a 100-ounce bar of silver the other day. And the reason why is because after I talked to the team at Kurt Elliott Precious Metals, they let me understand exactly where I could have a big upside in investing in silver. Now, the other part that I love about them is this. They have transparent pricing. There are a lot of gold companies that you'll hear about if you listen to talk radio or podcasts or watch TV. But do they tell you how the pricing actually works? Well, at Kurt Elliott, they're real simple. Just 8% when you buy and 0 commissions when you sell, with no hidden fees ever. That is the other reason why I recommend them to all of you. They also don't sell you, quote, rare coins or precious coins that you pay insane markups on. And then when you go to sell them, you find out they're really not worth that much. They are a bullion-only approach. They focus on investment-grade metals. No overpriced collectibles, no gimmicks. That means you get more gold or silver for your money at fair value when it's time for you to sell. So if you're ready to find out if gold and silver is right for you and your portfolio, then call them and get a plan. You can visit them at kepm.com/Ben. That's kepm.com/Ben. Or 720-605-3900. That's 720-605-3900. Kurt Elliott Precious Metals online at kepm.com. It's the 47 Morning Update, and it starts right now.
Story number 1.
We've got a very big story coming out of the White House, and it is a promise that President Donald Trump made to every American if he was elected president. It was that he was going to do whatever he could to get rid of illegal immigrants in this country. And he was also going to get rid of the illegal immigrants first that had committed the most heinous crimes. He also promised he was going to make dangerous cities safe again. All of this he is paying off on. But now we have some of the biggest data we've seen so far backing this up. The Department of Homeland Security has arrested more than 480,000 illegal immigrants in the first 9 months of the Trump administration. I'm going to give you that number again. 480,000 illegal immigrants in a 9-month span. This while many illegal immigrants have been hanging out in sanctuary cities, being protected by the radical left. Now, here's something else that you need to know. 70% of the 480,000 legal immigrants that have been arrested had been convicted of crimes or had criminal charges against them pending. Kristi Noem made the announcement during a stop in Bradenton, Florida, as they also put out a press release giving you some of the background, saying, quote, President Trump unleashed ICE to target the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens. Some of the criminals arrested included illegal aliens convicted of incest with a minor, homicide, sexual assault of a minor, and domestic violence. 70% of ICE arrests are of illegal aliens convicted or charged with a crime in the U.S. This statistic doesn't even include, they say, foreign fugitives, illegal aliens convicted of crimes in other countries, gang members, and also suspected terrorists. Noam highlighted 9 of the worst illegal immigrants who have been arrested in South and Central Florida alone. They included several different individuals. Noam said at the press conference, we are not going to let these individuals terrorize our streets anymore. And we're not going to let them make victims out of families that live in this country. I want you to hear directly from Kristi Noem at the press conference, and here's part of what she had to say.
I'll give you some examples of individuals that were brought to justice here in Sarasota and in this area. The first one I'll talk about is a convicted murderer whose name is Eric Carlos Artiles Ramos, an illegal alien who was from Cuba. He had a prior removal order in 2008, and now because of the work of this office, he is off the streets. He was also previously convicted of kidnapping and carjacking. We also have another individual, Oscar Alfredo Retena Marroquin, an illegal alien from El Salvador. He was convicted of sexual assault against a child and in 1995, and he was also arrested for DUI. He has been deported twice before, in 1999 and in 2019. Reentry after deportation, I'll remind all of you, is a felony. The next individual is Arturo Sanchez Morales. He's an illegal alien from Mexico. He was arrested for driving drunk, and he's already been deported once before. He re-entered, which is a felony, and was issued a final order of removal in 2016. He had previously been arrested for burglary as well, for possession of cocaine and larceny, and has convictions for multiple DUIs and lewd acts against a minor. And again, I'll talk about Leilis Ronaldo Benaro Zarin, who is an individual from Honduras who's been in this country illegally, and he has a conviction for domestic battery. He'd been deported twice before, in 2011 and in 2017. These individuals are just a handful of people that have been in this country creating victims out of American citizens that now those families do no longer have to worry about. Not only have they been brought into and incarcerated, but they're going to be brought to justice and pay for the crimes that they've committed. Every single day our law enforcement officers put their lives at risk to protect the American people. Every single day they get up and they go do their jobs to make sure that American families can live the lives that they've dreamed of since they were young. The left's anti-cop rhetoric has led to 1,000% increase in violence against our law enforcement officers. We have to stop the rhetoric that is allowing individuals the cover that they want to perpetuate violence against those who enforce our laws. Last month we had an individual open fire at an ICE facility, and we also saw victims from that attack that happened, not just against ICE agents, but also about detainees that were there at that facility. That individual, when he fired upon the building, created some victims. We lost 2 lives there. 3 individuals were hurt, and 2 died later on after that event. The suspect had anti-ICE written on the ammunition and on his bullet casings, proving that he had targeted against individuals that were working to keep our streets safe. Criminals are now even placing bounties on our law enforcement officers. This last month, the Department of Homeland Security arrested a criminal illegal alien and a Latin Kings gang member who placed a bounty on our U.S. Border Patrol Chief Greg Bovino. Still, they keep pressing on, and we've seen as well individuals on TikTok and other apps making threats against our law enforcement officers, putting bounties out on their head, and we will bring all of those individuals to justice. We will continue to bring murderers and rapists, those who perpetuate violence, pedophiles, gang members in our communities. We will go after them, bring them to justice, and we will save lives. The American people see this, and they see that President Trump is focused on making sure that our streets are safe and that our families have opportunities to raise their children in safe communities. In fact, recent polls have shown that 54% of Americans want illegals to be brought into justice, and they want to deport those who are in this country illegally. But 78% of Americans want these criminal illegal aliens brought to justice. That's because the American people understand the benefits of having law and order again.
This isn't just a win for Donald Trump. This is a win for every man and woman in this country, especially men and women that have been victims of countless crimes by illegal immigrants.
Now story number 2.
The Ninth Circuit saying that President Trump can send the National Guard to Portland is another massive win for law and order. And if you think that the left is going to sit down and just say, okay, fine, the president's going to be able to be the president and he has the authority to do this and he was elected to do it, you're wrong. MSNBC having a total meltdown as Lisa Rubin had to read the Ninth Circuit decision authorizing Trump to deploy the National Guard in Portland. Take a listen to how they spun it on MSNBC.
Yeah, and I want to just correct one thing and then explain why functionally it is the same. This is a stay of Judge Immigrants' opinion, and that's why it reached the Ninth Circuit as soon as it did, because this is an emergency motion to essentially pause her order. But as a functional matter, you are absolutely correct. It has the function of overturning her order and thereby allowing the president to send the National Guard back onto the streets of Portland. And Katie, I want to read, if I can, just from a little bit of the beginning of this 93-page opinion. It says, after considering the record, and by the record they mean all the factual evidence at this preliminary stage, we conclude that it is likely that the president lawfully exercised his statutory authority under 10 U.S.C. Section 12406. That's the statute we've been referring to as Title 10 when we have conversations about the National Guard deployments, which authorizes the federalization of the National Guard when the president is unable with the regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. And this is the important part. The evidence the president relied on reflects, quote, a colorable assessment of the facts and law within a range of honest judgment. We thus conclude that defendants are likely to succeed on the merits of their appeal, basically saying that when and if a court considers all of the record in this matter is tried and it gets back to an appellate court through an ordinary process where they have full briefing and full evidence, that they still think Donald Trump is likely to prevail there because he has the discretion to determine as the president within a range of honest judgment when it is reasonable to deploy the guard.
This is what you and I were talking about last week.
It is very clear. The left realizes now they're running out of ways to stop President Trump from doing his job, a job that he was elected by the American people to do. And they're going to do everything they can to continue to try to stop him. But as we witness what is happening now in Portland and the total number of arrests nationwide in the last 9 months and law and order that is also being restored to incredibly violent cities like Portland, Washington, D.C., Memphis, Tennessee, and many more to come, including Chicago. What you're witnessing is a president that is doing exactly what he promised he was going to do. Keep all Americans safe, no matter where you live.
Thank you for listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson. Please make sure you hit subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. And for more in-depth news, also subscribe to the Ben Ferguson Podcast, and we will see you back here tomorrow.
This is an iHeart podcast.